Well, what is good, everybody? This is the Maine Hockey Report brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Sunday evening, the last day of May, and we have got ourselves a Stanley Cup matchup. Cannot wait for this one to get started. That will be Tuesday night, January 2nd, down there in Carolina, 8 p.m. puck drop with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vegas Golden Knights. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Been an interesting one here. Fun one, a little bit of rain and whatnot here with my kiddo, but we made the best of it. So I had been sporting the San Jose Sharks hat out and about a little bit. I think I had it on a couple videos too and getting some questions about it. I am here to say that I have officially adopted the San Jose Sharks as my Western Conference team. And yes, you can have two favorites. Now, that doesn't mean that when Boston plays San Jose that I'll be cheering for the Sharks. Absolutely not. I'm still a Bruins fan through and through. But up until Bruce Cassidy's firing, Vegas Golden Knights were really kind of my de facto Western Conference favorite because I just love Bruce so much. But y'all out there in Vegas, you're having all the fun right now, but you're doing my boy Bruce dirty. So I have to kind of punt on Vegas being my Western Conference team. At this point, I'm adopting the San Jose Sharks. First of all, look at the logo. I mean, who doesn't love this logo, man? This is just a brilliant logo. Of course, you've got Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith. You got Warsawski as a coach there, of course, a New England guy. So, and they're on a great upward trajectory. So I'm here to officially announce that San Jose Sharks will be my number 2 team going forward, and I would love to see them in the playoffs next year. They were right around it this year, so a lot to like about what they have going on. But we are not here to talk San Jose Sharks hockey tonight. We've got a whole lot of other hockey to talk about, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I'm going to stop for a second. I want to play you a small clip from a video I did back this fall. Now, I did not do a full-on playoff predictions video this past season. I did more of a video on kind of my 5 teams I want to cheer for going into the year. I think actually San Jose may have been one of those 5 teams. But I do make a comment about who I think is going to win the Stanley Cup and who I think they're going to play against. And I'm going to play that video right here. I won't be doing a full playoff predictions video this year. I am, however, going to replace that with a video around 5 teams I'll be pulling for this season. So that video will be coming out shortly. And for the record, I do have Vegas over Carolina as my official Stanley Cup Final prediction for the year. All right, what do you think of that, guys? A little Ben Stradamus over here, huh? Well, they're pretty good, right? Pretty good at Vegas over Carolina. And man, I am 4 wins away from getting that just dead to nuts. So, of course, did I put any bets on it? No, I'm not a betting guy. Despite our DraftKings wonderful sponsorship here, I'm not someone who tends to bet my money, but I probably should have. Now, in all fairness, when I made this pick, it was under the assumption that Bruce Cassidy was going to be the head coach and that Adin Hill was going to be in net. I did not have a scenario where John Tortorella was the coach and Carter Hart was in net playing really well for Vegas. So spoiler alert, before we get into some of the numbers and everything of this series, I kind of have to stick with my pick. When I go into this series, if I was just picking it blind right now, man, I might pick Carolina. I'm not sure. I mean, it's going to be a really tight series, in my opinion. But based on my prediction video from September, I'm going to have to pick Vegas. I'm just going to pick 7 because I want 7. I want as much physical hockey as we can have here before the year is out. But let's dive into some stats here. First of all, the head-to-head, it really doesn't tell you much in this series. They only played the 2 times, of course. It was way back in October, back on the 20th of October in Vegas. The Knights winning that one 4-1. And then 8 days later in Carolina, Vegas getting that one as well, 6-3. That was ages ago, man. We're talking back in October. So those 2 games really don't tell you a whole heck of a lot about how these 2 teams match up today. A lot of changes happened, obviously throughout those months, especially on the Vegas side with, again, their coaching and their goaltending. But looking at the playoff records for both teams, of course, both with 12 wins, obviously, because it's simple math. They've won 3 rounds, but Carolina 12-1. Just the 1 loss so far. Of course, that 1 loss being against Montreal in the last series after, I think they lost game 1 and they just kind of kind of, I don't want to say steamroll them, 2 overtime games, but they definitely put the skate on the throat a little bit of the Canadians to earn that series. And Vegas, 12-4. So they've been quite good, really just those 4 losses. And a little bit of a minor struggle there against Utah there at the beginning, but kind of got through that. And the fact just how they steamrolled Colorado, I mean, that's a whole other podcast. I know there's been a lot of content done on that. Obviously, Colorado not healthy. We know that. Some of their big stars not really at 100%. But you can say that about a lot of teams this time of year. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's health, sometimes it's a combination of all those things. But Vegas, a worthy Western champion, Carolina, a very worthy Eastern champion, and you can see how they played through these first 3 rounds of the playoffs. Let's dive into some numbers, though, here, guys. Just looking at some of the kind of core stats. Goals for per game for Carolina, 3.23 versus 3.63 for Vegas. So they have an edge there. Goals against, 1.62 for Carolina, 2.38 for Vegas. So Carolina, a little bit of edge there. 3 shutouts for Carolina as well. None so far for Vegas. Specialty teams right here, a little bit of a disparage. Carolina on the power play, only 12.5%. Now, it hasn't hurt them yet, but Vegas, 23.9. That's pretty impressive when you're talking about playoffs. You're doing that against other playoff teams. That's pretty impressive. So they almost have Carolina doubled in that number. We'll see if that plays in this series. The PK, both very good. 92.5% for Carolina, 87.5 for Vegas. Shots on goal per game, no surprise. Carolina leading the way here, 33.7%, or 33.7 shots per game, I should say, and 27 per game for Vegas. So Vegas able to get shots to net as well. And in the face-off circle, Carolina so far here in the playoffs, 47.4%, and the Vegas Golden Knights, 53.3%. So again, not sure what you can really take from those numbers. I do think special teams could play a little bit of a factor here. I do think Vegas has a little bit more offensive jump to their game. We know Carolina plays more of a kind of structured defense and kind of really taking time and space away from teams defensively. And they also do possess the puck a lot. It's just a matter of the shot volume, right? The shots are there. How many high quality, high danger shots are they really getting? I think that's always been a little bit of a question. But hey, it's worked for them so far. They finally get over the hump, finally getting here to the Stanley Cup Final. Looking at more of some of the individual players, we'll start with Vegas, and this is going to just piss off Maple Leaf fans, but Mitch Marner is sitting there with 7 goals, 14 assists, and 21 points through 16 games, plus 12, just phenomenal. And listen, I know everybody's like, oh, Mitch Marner finally having a great playoff. Like, go back and watch some of my videos from a year ago when I was just railing on the Maple Leafs. When you look at Mitch Marner's playoff performances, he outperformed Matthews, Tavares, all the other guys in Toronto. Mitch Marner was always the best playoff performer. It may not have felt that way, but based on the numbers, when you look at those numbers, Marner outperformed all those guys. So I'm not surprised that he's having this kind of a playoff. He's that kind of a player. He's just now able to put it out there and not get all the judgment there from being in Toronto and being on a team that constantly loses in the playoffs. Anyway, I'll get off that rant. Jack Eichel with 18 points, 2 goals, and 16 assists. Only 2 goals, but 18 points total, plus 7. Pavel Dorvaev, 14 points, 10 goals, and 4 assists. Brett Howden up there, 10 goals, 2 assists for 12 points. Ivan Barbashev, 5, 7, and 12. And Theodore, 4, 7, and 11. Mark Stone, who has only played in 11 games here in the playoffs, 5, 5, and 10 for himself. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players with 10 plus points, and Hurdle sitting right there with 9. So depth scoring, not a problem here so far for the Vegas Golden Knights. When we tip it over to the Carolina Hurricanes, who would you think is leading the way in scoring? It would be Aho, Svechnikov, Ehlers maybe. Nope, none of those. It is old man Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall leading the way in 13 games. He has 5 goals, 11 assists for 16 points. If you had that on your bingo card, baby, good for you. Good for you. Impressive, absolutely impressive to see what Taylor's been able to do so far in these playoffs. Jackson Blake up there, 5 goals, 10 assists for 15 points for himself. Logan Stankoven, 9 goals, 3 assists for 12 points. And then you do go to Nick Ehlers, 4, 5, and 9. Jarvis, 3, 5 for 8. And Keandre Miller played very good defensively at the 8 assists, no goals for 8 points. Aho down there, 4, 3, and 7, along with Svechnikov, 3, 4, and 7 as well. So both with just the 7 points. We'll talk about those guys here in just a moment. So that's kind of how some of those numbers look. So again, I don't know how much you can read from any of the team stats or any of these kind of player stats so far. Obviously, every playoff series is kind of its own entity, you know, in terms of what plays and what doesn't, or what numbers matter and what don't. I do think that the power play is going to be curious. Can Vegas keep that up? Can Carolina pick it up from a power play perspective? The one big narrative we continue to hear is that, oh, this is just going to be a boring series. Like, people were not cheering for this to be the series because Carolina, they're kind of known as being that, or they're accused anyway of being a boring team to watch. You just play a boring brand of hockey. Not if you're a hockey fan. I think if you're a real hockey fan, you really appreciate the way they play. Again, strong defensively. Again, taking time and space away. They do put on a lot of shots, and they do, you know, control the puck a lot. Not a lot of high danger, and they've never been a super explosive offense. Better this year for sure. But they just kind of play that blue-collar, consistent style of hockey that, yeah, doesn't always make the highlight reels or anything like that. They just win. And you know what? Call it what you want. I love it. I'm envious of the way they play. I wish my Boston Bruins would play more of that style of hockey. I think with Vegas, you definitely do have more of that run and gun. You have more maybe flash, pizzazz. You have more of that star power, perhaps with Marner and Eichel, and of course guys like, you know, Mark Stone being out there, you know, Dorvaev and people like that you know, can really put the puck behind the net. So stylistically, I do think it's going to be interesting to see these two teams kind of clash. And let's be honest, a lot of people, a lot of fans just don't like Vegas. Vegas, one of the most hated teams in the league right now. I mean, heck, I just chose to cheer for San Jose over Vegas in the West because of what they're doing to my boy. They just kind of do their own thing, right? They just do their own thing. They've come into the league now 9 years, third appearance in the Stanley Cup Final. So for those other teams and other fan bases that have been waiting and trying to get there, yeah, you're a little jealous, you're a little salty that this team just kind of comes in and within under a decade, they get there 3 times. And I think have a very good shot at winning their second Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. When the ice gets coldest, the best players in the world show you exactly who they are. Playoff warriors turn it up round by round, and DraftKings turns it up with them from the first round all the way to the Stanley Cup Final. Bet player props, bet live. From the opening faceoff to the final horn, every moment matters. New DraftKings customers bet just $5 and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $100 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
So will it be boring? If you're a casual fan, I don't know. But if you're a real fan of hockey, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Just the clashing of those two styles, these two head coaches. You got, you know, Rod Brind'Amour on one side. You have John Tortorella on the other side of this. I mean, two pretty fiery guys. You know, I've always loved, you know, Rod, just his style and his demeanor. He, you know, and I hate playing against him, but he's got a lot of passion, a lot of enthusiasm. And John, he's quite honestly, he surprised me when they first hired him. Of course, I was mad because Bruce getting fired, but I didn't think it was going to go well. Just, you know, John's style, he tends to really get under people's skin and this and that. He's, I really think, taking much more of a player's approach. been, I think, a lot more kind of calm and maybe just getting a little bit older. He's adapting to more of the NHL style right now. I don't know what it is, but man, it's working. And I think, there was a lot of thought of, okay, he's just coming in to kind of ride out the ship, to get through this season, and then Vegas will go out and find someone else. Well, I'm not so sure, man. I think he's done enough to earn himself an opportunity to be the moving forward head coach, get himself a contract. Might be his last one in the league if he wants it, but I think win, lose, or draw this Stanley Cup, I think Tortorella's back next year in Vegas. If you're a Golden Knights fan, just leave some comments down below. Who do you want to see as your head coach next year? Is it John? Is it someone else? And does this Stanley Cup performance matter in that decision-making process? Not really sure. But some keys, I think, for both teams as we kind of wind this up. I think for Vegas, it's really, can you keep the goaltending pace up? Carter Hart has been so good. And we didn't actually look at those numbers. I'm sorry. We should go back and look at goaltending really quick here. Carter Hart for Vegas, 2.23 goals against, a .924 save percentage, going up against Andersen, who has stayed healthy and looked great, 1.41 goals against and a .931 save percentage, of course, both with the 12 wins. So can Carter Hart keep this up? He's looked great. He's really taken the net and has just looked good doing it. I think that's absolutely going to be, point number one. Keep him going, keep him doing what he's doing. And this offense has got to keep pace, I think, to win this series. If we go back and look, Vegas has scored 58 goals, in the 16 games. That's versus 42 for Carolina. So a big edge. And I think, the Golden Knights are leading the charge here in the playoffs with that. Montreal is second, 19 games with 54 goals. It's a big drop off to 44 to Colorado. So Vegas's offense is really keeping them in these games and helping them win these games. I think that's absolutely going to have to continue. That depth scoring is going to have to continue, and Hart's going to have to continue to play in that. I do think Vegas does have that propensity to give up some chances here and there. And Carolina, not the juggernaut offense, but they have plenty of finishers out there that can make it hurt for you if you give them too much. I think for Carolina, it's very simple. If you're going to win this series, you need more out of your top guys. You need more out of Aho and Svechnikov. Absolutely. Both only with 7 points. They've gotten enough out of other guys, like we talked about Blake and Stan Colvin and Hall, those kind of guys. But if you're going to beat this Vegas team, if you're going to beat that goaltender, you're going to have your big guys step up. They're probably going to have to be point per game players in this series to get Carolina over the top. Like I said, I am sticking with my pick. I'm sticking with Vegas. I'm going to go Vegas in 7 in this one. But I really do think you can flip a coin. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. I can't wait for this thing to get started Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, down there in Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, guys. Well, let's talk a little bit, just real quick, about the ECHL. Of course, those Kelly Cup playoffs continuing. We do know now that the Florida Everblades have finished off the Wheeling Nailers, of course, the team that our Maine Mariners lost to in 7 games. Florida winning that series in 5 games. Florida winning the East once again. I think if you're a Maine Mariner fan, you're just a little bit salty because Wheeling, they got the 1 win, Game 4, and really just didn't look like they were in this series. Even though a couple of those games early on were 1-goal games, I really think that the Maine Mariners would have given Florida a real push and maybe even won that series. I really do. Maine was on the ice against Florida earlier this year in their barn and played very well against them. I think they were better built to play a team like Florida. I just think kind of maybe the hockey gods got that one wrong with Wheeling winning that series against Maine. But Florida back to the Kelly Cup final. I think this is going to be their 4th appearance in 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Kansas City and Fort Wayne. Right now it is 3-1. It was game 1, Kansas City 5-1, Fort Wayne 4-3, Kansas City 6-4, and Kansas City 4-2. They played tonight, so if you do have a Flow Hockey account, that game is actually going on right now as I record, 5:05 Eastern at Fort Wayne. So the Comets are going to have to win to extend the series. Kansas City really the heavy favorite. So really, unless Fort Wayne can do something special. It's going to be Kansas City, Florida. That will be a very, very good Kelly Cup final. Two extremely good teams, most likely the two best teams in the whole ECHL. A little bit of news coming out of Providence that may impact the Maine Mariners. It is Dylan McKinnon signing a contract with the AHL Providence Bruins. Of course, McKinnon played just a little bit in Maine. This was just announced yesterday. It's on the Providence Bruins website. The presser reads, Providence Bruins GM Evan Gold announced today, May 30th, that the Providence Bruins have signed defenseman Dylan McKinnon to a 1-year, 2-way AHL contract through 2026-2027. So 2-way, meaning he can get up to the NHL. He was a former third-round draft pick back in 2023 by the Nashville Predators. That was 83rd overall. So it was a really good get for the Maine Mariners to have him here. He did not play a lot, didn't really work into the mix a lot, but clearly a guy that, the Bruins saw enough in him to give him that contract. Where he's on a 2-way, we'll see. We'll see if he ends up back in Maine at some point during the year. Way too early to tell for sure. And there has been a lot of chatter about our top D-man here, Zach Massicott. I know he left some sort of social media post that's got everybody kind of in a flurry of, he's gone, he's heading to Europe or this or that, or he's heading someplace else. And I have no idea about any of that, where he's going to end up, but he did leave that comment. I did see, I think it was on Instagram or Facebook, something like that. Too early to tell, though, with all this stuff, and we're sitting here May 31st. Free agency doesn't open in the ECHL until 6/23. Now, listen, really good defensive player, been here now for, I think, at least 2 years. He could very easily earn another AHL contract someplace in the league, and it may not be Providence. I mean, McKinnon signing there, maybe that was Mass's spot, I don't know. Wouldn't be shocked if he gets another AHL deal someplace, which means, yes, his time here in Maine would be done. Could he go to Europe? Sure, I suppose he could, but way, way too early to tell. If this is the last we've seen of Zach Massicott, no doubt we're going to miss him here. He was phenomenal, a big part of this group. Of course, spent some time injured this year, but absolutely just great Maine Mariner. Wore the sweater well, wore the Maine Mariners logo well while he was here, and wherever he goes, wish him well. And who knows what the Cosmos bring us? Maybe we see him yet again. Maybe Providence able to sign him, and he's right back here for some time next year. We will see. So some other dates to keep in mind as we are now. Of course, we still have the Kelly Cup Final, and of course the Western Conference Final to finish up. But some dates to keep in mind. It's June 8th where the protected lists are due for each team. Now, kind of sort of a meaningless list, right? Because a lot of the eligible players are just thrown on there. So not a whole lot of actual pertinent news, but something we will talk about. All future considerations, trades in the ECHL need to be finalized by 6/20. So there could be some player movement there to finish up some of those trades. And then the season-ending roster deadline, it's the 22nd of June as well, and then free agency opening on the 23rd. So just some dates to keep in mind and keep us going here throughout the summer. So, guys, please enjoy the Stanley Cup Final. I know it may not be the sexiest matchup for some of you more casual NHL fans out there, but just remember, you got two very different styles of hockey coming together. Both teams playing so well, getting great goaltending. You're going to have a lot of, I think, theatrics with both coaches here. They're big-time personalities, and I think it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. So enjoy it. Thank you for watching. As always, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe here on this channel if you haven't already. I'd absolutely appreciate that. And until next time, everybody, be kind, show love, and God bless.